Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Wife joined a cult and has been cheating with the leader. With updates. So, I love my gal madly. That hasn't changed one bit. Still, I realize that the best thing for her is to let her go. She's confused, lost even. She loves me, but sadly, is in love with someone else. For the best doesn't always mean it's supposed to hurt any less. Over the last 2 years, she's insisted over and over and over again that her boss is just a friend and more like a sister to her. I bristled at first, but relented. I read countless essays on how to be a modern man and why it's imperative to suppress our inner caveman in such situations. Whenever I'd question her relationship with her boss, she'd insist that it was all in my head and was my issue alone. Her boss, a clinical social worker, is also her cousin's therapist, and, turns out, my gal's therapist as well, though she hid this from me until a week ago when I finally found out. It's all as crazy as it sounds, at least to me. Last week, after she'd spent both Friday and Saturday night with him, I said that we should go see a marriage counselor. She argued that we'd only be going for my issues and that she has no problems with our relationship. It's the same yarn I've heard 1,000 times. I told her that she may be gaslighting me, but to no avail. It was, again, all in my head. I finally had to betray her trust. I read her diary. It was out in the open staring at me for almost a year on our bookshelf. I was floored. She was madly in love with him, fantasized about him, considered him the most complete man she'd ever known. I was overwhelmed first by despair, then by a sad kind of vindication. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't acting like some jealous brute. My guts were right. If I betrayed her by reading her diary, she'd been betraying me for well over a year. She even went to her boss's place some months ago and told him all that she felt towards him. She insists he only held her while she wept. I had to ask. We had made love just a week ago. Still, it's all just a Pyrrhic victory. Worse, she insists it's my fault, that I ended it, not her. So now, I'm just in the throes of despair, house-sitting for friends, trying to keep some distance as I desperately try to figure out my next move. Relative to all that I've experienced, this is the worst pain I've ever felt. I told her that I'll always be there for her if she ever needs me. I want to run back and hold her and just forget. I'm haunted by memory and all the beautiful moments we shared together. I remember just how fragile and delicate she was when recovering from cancer some years ago. I can see her next to me in my rig, her hair finally growing back, and how I hoped and prayed that I never break her heart. At night and in the morning, the abyss opens up. I feel broken, long in the tooth, a tired old dog, with no home and not much fight left in him anymore. I'm taking it all one day at a time, still working out, avoiding the bottle, and talking to family and friends as much as possible. Still, the darkness confounds me, and I am plummeting in defeat. One quick comment before the update. Genius or a Fool says, "Welcome to the Truman Show, and you're starring in it. Sadly, your reality has not been reality. You should step back and relook at your wife with some new light shed on who she really is and what she's really done to you in your marriage. After taking all that into consideration, she's probably lost her shine now that you uncovered sneakiness, lying, manipulation, talking about you to the other man behind your back, being in love with the other man, and basically giving what is yours to him. It's sickening, really. That diary is a gift. You should thank your lucky stars for having read it. Therein lies the truth and reality about your wife. Over time, as all this sinks in, you will get clarity. Right now, you are struggling to mesh who or what you thought you had with what you really have. Very painful. Stay in reality." Okay, time for the update. The complexities of my current situation with my ex's cult leader, boss. I'm beginning the process of reporting her boss to the State Board of Social Workers. However, that process seems not only fraught with difficulties, but also may likely prove fruitless. I spoke with a former coworker who confirmed that my ex's boss not only tries to run the social workers under his stead like a gang or cult, he may also very well be a sociopath, her own words. To make matters worse, this former coworker offered my ex a position at a well-regarded university that paid $30,000 more roughly a year ago. Apparently, my ex told her that the boss, doesn't think I'm ready. I never caught wind of this. Insanity. Aside from the obvious infidelity, It's impossible not to look past the malevolent level of control this man holds over my ex and a few other women that work at this hospital. Again, he was my ex's therapist at work, her cousin's therapist, and at least 2 other coworkers' therapist. All done in the sly, so I doubt there's any paper trail documenting hours and whatnot. Again, even if I report it, it's essentially my word against theirs, and I doubt that my ex or the other women will turn on their boss. As of right now, they almost worship him. Is there anyone here with some kind of professional insight on how I may report this in a manner that's not pointless based on what I've shared? I'm not out for revenge against my ex. I do want to see her boss go down though. He has trespassed so many professional and personal lines, including threatening me. Crazy stuff. Good times. Our comment before the final update comes with, "What do you seek?" I just want to second what some of the others said. I'm not licensed myself, but I do investigations of licensed professionals in a different state. Have you already spoken to someone at the licensing board? Even if your complaint comes to naught, at least there will be a record. There might be others who have made similar reports. And from what you said about him driving a Bentley and all, I'm sure there's some sort of financial exploitation or fraud going on. As someone else also said, the local paper might be interested in this sort of thing. You could start by reaching out to an opinion writer. Even just his dissuading her from getting the higher paying job could add to the concerns. Good luck. And now on to the final update. The police called me. I haven't seen or spoken to my ex since the day I moved out on September 3rd. She stopped by my new place to drop off mail while I was gone a few weeks ago. I politely texted her to not come by again. I feel for her in the sense that she's not all the same person anymore. Have any of you ever watched the HBO series The Leftovers? Remember when the wife finally joins the cult? That's exactly how I feel about her now, except that it's a cult of one man, her boss, who is also her therapist. Anyway, I tried reaching out to former coworkers. One confirmed my suspicion through and through. I was emboldened and reached out to a few more. My plan was to report her boss to the California State Board of Social Workers. Lo and behold, at 4 p.m. this afternoon, the police called to inform me that a domestic violence claim has now been made against me by her. I've never even so much as raised my voice against her, let alone anything else. God forbid. I'm usually one to just get quiet and leave for a walk or a smoke when we argued. I haven't seen her or contacted since the day I moved out. Even when we broke up, I told her that I loved her, but that love was now just about letting go. I know she's being coached by her boss, and there's no longer anything I can do. I'm out. Take care. Let's see how the comment area takes this one. Double J83 says, "Damn. When did they state the alleged occurrence happened? Were you together then, or split up living separate? Assuming you are telling the truth, they have no evidence, but they still have to follow through with the report. Gather all phone records, alibis, GPS locations for that date, anything that can prove that you didn't do it, and go from there. Be careful though. Hopefully you didn't give her anything to use against you." My ex went into our room and closed the door when I started to pack my stuff and leave, then punched herself in the eye repeatedly and called the cops, telling them I hit her and trying to have me arrested. Luckily, when the cops got there, they did their jobs, and her smart self didn't realize when they checked my hands for marks, there were none. But her eye was black and her knuckles were red and slightly swollen from hitting herself. Most rewarding part of walking away from that relationship was listening to her cry as the cops lit her up about arresting her for filing a false police report. And let's not forget giving herself a black eye. Anyways, good luck, OP, and just make sure all your ducks are in a row. The OP responds, "No idea. I called them back, but I am waiting. I already contacted a lawyer. I'm in California. The lawyer via a friend was very cool and got me to chill out after I explained everything. He said it's a claim, not a charge yet, and to explain the story as I've explained it here. There's literally no event or conceivable event that took place. I think maybe 3 years ago I slammed a door in a huff. I just don't have that kind of temper. I just get real quiet and take breathers. Like I said, I haven't seen or spoken with her since 9/3/2019. She messaged me about the stuff I'd left and to make sure I had everything I needed. She came by to drop off my stuff. I have all those texts saved. I guess it's just so effed up because had you seen us together not even 2 months ago, you would have thought, wow, those two must really love one another. So it goes. I'm not going to lie. The thought of ending it for myself finally ran through my mind. I can't understand how someone I loved and loved me so much once upon a time could now do such a thing." On to the next story. Wife of 9 years has been having an affair for half of her marriage. I, 34 male, and my wife, 33 female, have been married for 7 years, dating for 3. No kids, but we do own a flat together. I'm writing this a week after finding out, and I'm currently staying at my brother's house. My wife and I were a super couple. We met at a conference meeting for our jobs, and we hit it off almost immediately. She liked the same things I did, although our hobbies did differ, but we indulged in each other's interests. After 3 years of dating, she decided to move in with me into a small home I rented out for my friend. We would split the rent. She was great, and I think our intimate life was also good, around 4 or 5 times a week. We would do both the chores around the house, and I would cook most of the meals because she didn't know how to, which I didn't mind. We would go out regularly on dates, and I would often bring her surprise presents, which I thought she loved. I will say that I was distant at one point in our relationship as I suffered the loss of a family member and just shut myself in my office. I will also say we might have got married too quickly, but I really loved this woman with all my soul, and now it's all destroyed. Her family loved me, and her father and I are especially close as we go on fishing trips often. So I never thought anything was wrong with how she acted until a lot recently as she became more cold to me and started accusing me of cheating. She would start arguments over petty things, which I would end up apologizing for. Not that she accepted the apologies. She also started going out for girls' nights where, or so I thought, her and friends would just go out for a day. Our bedroom life basically became a stone, and whenever I tried to initiate, she would push me away and say that she was tired or not in the mood, which I respected. But these, of course, created red flags in my mind, and so regrettably, I snooped around. There was nothing on her Facebook out of the unusual, but her phone, that was a goldmine. One day, she was laughing at her phone, and I asked what was funny, and she became extremely defensive and said that she doesn't need to tell me, then went back to texting. This set off alarms in my head like I've never had before. So that night, after she had a couple of drinks and went to bed, I unlocked her phone using Face ID and looked through her photos. Nothing there. Recently deleted nothing as well. Then I went to her messages and found some girl named Monica. She loved Friends, and I hadn't met a friend named Monica, so I took a snoop and I found the jackpot. From the last messages, I just felt rage talking about things like, I want you, and so what, I have a husband. The kicker was she didn't delete anything. Every nude, every message for the last 4 years were there, and there were thousands. I'm a bit tech savvy, so I installed spyware into her phone, and I sent every text to myself. It took 5 hours to do it all, and now I'm seething with anger. I gave this woman everything, and now she does this for so long as well, and can still look me in the face and smile. I have asked a friend to recommend me a lawyer who will go full scorched earth on her, and all the emotions I had towards her are now just anger and spite. She doesn't know I know yet, and so I told her that I have a work-related trip for 2 weeks. I have already set up cameras in the house, and as soon as I left the house, he came over, and they have done it everywhere. The kicker, Monica, is my other brother, so now I feel betrayed, emasculated, and broken inside. No one else knows yet other than the brother I'm staying at, and we are both seething at this. But I've had my good friend Jack Daniels by my side this whole time. I just feel so dumb and stupid for not noticing in the beginning, and now I'm going to have to go back and face her like nothing happened, as I want to blindside her with the divorce papers when I get them after I hear my options from the lawyer, who I haven't even chosen yet. But I will say that something is broken and gone, and I don't feel for my wife anymore, but that's where I am right now. I'll post an update if people want one, but right now, I'm lost, drunk, sad, and angry, and I have no thoughts of reconciliation. Our first comment comes from D Reddit Avenger. Once you give her your papers, don't even bother to talk to her again. Just refer her to your lawyer. Just leave the papers and the evidence. Also, don't cover her secret. Let everyone know why you are breaking up. As far as your brother goes, I would never talk to him again as well, and I would force my family to choose. I would probably do other stuff that I can't write for fear of being banned. He wouldn't know what's coming. You seem to know what you want. That will put you ahead of a lot of people, and you will recover faster. Sorry this happened, but you will eventually recover and have a happy life again. Franz83 says, Hey man, just wanted to say some things about this mythical closure. You do not need it from her. In fact, here's the real closure you can get from within. She is a person capable of having affairs and most probably a serial cheater. Serial cheaters are known to have toxic behavioral traits. That is, they are dishonest, liars, manipulators, con people, selfish, self-centered, immature, have double lives, and so on. Proof of the above are the messages that you were able to retrieve stealthily from her phone. That's the real her. Those are her true colors. Do not believe the mask she pretends to be. So, your closure is very simple. She is not the person she pretends to be, and for whom you fell in love with. The real her is this horrible serial cheat. Having affairs and cheating are abuse, so she's an abuser too. That's all you need to realize and know, my friend. She's just a bad person and a two-faced snake.